of the things that we're doing. In Mozambique, I think last year we must have done about $190 million in those type of loans to support SMEs. And we are doing it in every part of Africa because we believe that that is the engine of growth if you support SMEs. So it's very dear to us in terms of our focus. The third is around retail and digital. Africa is about 1.4 billion people. We have around about 400 million that are financially excluded. I think Zambia has one of the highest financial inclusion, maybe about 70%. But it's not like that in other African countries. Congo, 90 million people, only about 30%. So what can we do to bring people to make them financially included?
Within Access Bank, the expanded Access Bank, there is something for everyone from a banking services perspective. So nobody is left out. And what this does is to position us to be a top 5 player in the Zambian market. One of the few universal banks that we actually have in this market. And we believe this is extremely important because once we engage, once we start to do business together, you are rest assured that not only is your company benefiting, but you yourself as a person can have something. Your employees will be able to have something. Your family can be able to have something. Your kids, everybody else, there is a place for you.
Hi everyone, we're here at Pamosi Hotel where Access Bank has made a very, very interesting announcement about its engagement with key stakeholders, and with me is one of those people that is attending who is part of the Exco team. Are you able to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Sheikh Kumakwai. I'm the Executive Director in charge of African subsidiaries, so I look after our business outside of Nigeria.
Absolutely, and obviously, is this your first time in Zambia, or you have been coming very frequently?
Zambia is my favorite country in Africa, so I've been coming here many times.
Absolutely, and I'm sure like our tourism people will be very, very happy to actually hear that.
Yeah.
But tell us a bit about this event that's going on today. I mean, you guys invited key stakeholders within the Zambian space. What are some of the key takeaways from the engagements that you've had so far, and why does Zambia excite you as a group of companies?
So today is really a momentous occasion for us. This is a market that we've been in for 15 years. This is a market that we believe in its economic prosperity, and we believe that as Access Bank, we can contribute to the economic development. The reality is, and our belief is that to be able to do this, you need to have skill to be able to, support SMEs, support enterprises, support corporate, youth, and women. Absolutely. And what we've been doing over the last few years is to try and gain that skill. 3 years ago, we acquired Carbon Bank. We moved from number 14 to number 9.
Correct.
This one is taking us to number 4. What it means is that in the scheme of things in Zambia, we then matter. All right, we have the largest bank network, and our capacity to support the economy has doubled. And therefore, it's a momentous occasion for us. And what we want to do is, over the next 3 years, is really to be the leading bank in this country, developing this nation, contribute to the economy, supporting SME, supporting women, supporting youths, so that truly we can lift Africa out of where it is today, we can change the African narrative.
Absolutely, and obviously one of the key takeaways for me personally is where the bank itself at group level is positioning itself as one of the most highly respected banks on the continent. Yes. How do you see yourselves achieving that in Zambia, and what does the next year look like for Access Bank, the newly merged Access Bank in Zambia?
So very, very interesting question, and I think the way we look at it is, for you to get to where you want to get to number 1, you need a certain scale, you need a certain level of size for you to matter. like I said earlier, we now have the largest brand network. It means that for our customers, all right, we are everywhere.
Correct.
And therefore, we'll be the first name on their lips. So the foundation that's going to take us to that number one is already been set. It's really now to push the momentum. And the good thing is that we are an African bank, all right? We have the network, we have the expertise, we have the skills, we have the capacity that we can bring into Zambia to support the Zambian economy and truly get to that number one. So we see the path, and we are clear about how we are going to get there over the next 3 years.
Absolutely, and obviously, maybe just as the last question, in terms of like the organizational arrangements for the bank going forward, will you be looking into expanding the network even further, or will you maintain and just solidify your position?
So we do both, because we believe that we need more branches. We've done the analysis as part of the feasibility studies. There are a couple of provinces that we need to have branches that we don't. And we are not only going to do physical branches, we are going to do a lot of electronic banking. We are going to do different type of branches, closer branches, which are smaller branches. We are going to do agency banking. So it's a combination of branch types, because
Correct.
we believe that there are some localities you cannot reach from a cost perspective. You
Correct.
work with agent, and we are pushing the agency banking agenda across Africa. And I think Zambia is also relevant in that scheme.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for speaking to us, and we wish you a pleasant evening. I know that there's a lot of networking, and we wish you all the best in 2024.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we are at Pamozi Hotel in Lusaka, Zambia, where we're meeting up with some people that are in and around the Access event. And we have Mr. Your name is?
Ihanyi Nwogu.
Okay, Ihanyi Nwogu. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes.
We're at this Access event. Tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're here, and why this event is so important.
Okay, like I said, my name is Ihanyi Nwogu. I am the Deputy Managing Director of Access Bank Zambia. And we're at Pamozi to have a kind of cocktail, making sure that we tell our customers what is happening. Of course, it's no longer a news in Zambia that Access Bank has acquired Atlas Mara, and that has given us that momentum, okay, to be one of the top banks in Zambia. So here today, we are telling our top customers what has happened, and so that they will align with the vision and work with us even as we merge.
Absolutely, and we're super excited to have this big announcement. And thank you so much for hosting us today.
Thank you, and thank you for coming.
All right,
thank you.
With me to tell me a little bit about what's happening here is the Access Bank Zambia MD, Mr. Lishala Stumbeko. Lish, how are you doing?
I'm doing very, very well, Mwelo. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and thank you so much for having us.
Good to see you.
It's always a pleasure. I know
Indeed.
Financial Insight is always hunting for content, but coming to this event was so important. When we got the invitation, it read engaging stakeholders. Why was it so important for you and your bank to engage with stakeholders on a night like this at the start of 2024?
Well, I think from the 8th of January, something very, very important happened. We announced that Access Bank and Atlas Mara are coming together. Now, clearly, those two banks have not existed alone. They've got stakeholders that are behind them. They're stakeholders that are the strength of where they are. In other words, they're standing on the shoulders of their customers. And it's very important when you undertake a journey like this, you need to be able to walk with your customers. And so the engagement that we're looking at is really to say, look, we've come together. What's in it for you? What's in it for us? And I think we need to be able to share in that journey. How are we going to move from here? So we look at what has happened, what does it mean, and where are we going? So it was important we come together and we share in this very moment to say, look, this is what has happened. We recognize the moment and what it actually means for all of our customers and stakeholders.
Absolutely. And obviously, looking at the attendance tonight alone, it's a testament that a lot of people were very curious to hear, what your plans are now with the newly merged bank. And congratulations, by the way, on your appointment to oversee now a bank that now joins the top 4, banks in Zambia. What are some of the expectations people should look out for from your perspective in terms of going forward in 2024 and the years to come from the bank?
Okay, clearly when you say top 4, you're really looking at the financial metrics. I think our view is to say, in the minds of our customers, we need to be at the top. And I think we have to earn that space. and we're committed to earning that space. And I think in terms of expectations, what we're actually saying is we are going to work with our customers to deliver the kind of experience, the kind of product, the kind of service which meets their needs, to make sure that in their minds we occupy the top spot. And I think for us that's very, very important, because time and again, yes, the numbers are extremely important, but who delivers the numbers is the customer.
Absolutely. And you know, one thing I've noticed is, and I could be wrong, but partnerships, how important are partnerships going forward? We've already spoken to one of your partners, MTN FinTech. How important are partners to this particular ambition that you have?
Well, partnerships are the heart of everything that we do. A couple of things we need to take into account. The business models that we're running today are not the same, 5-10 years ago. So a lot has changed. There's new players that have come into the market. Financial transactions are no longer what they used to be. So as a bank, you're no longer, you don't have the monopoly to be able to perform banking, as it were. Because I think time and again, a lot of discussions in a lot of fora do indicate that, banking is no longer, it's no longer a place you go to, but it's what you do. And a lot of players have gotten into that space. And what we're saying is, look, I think we all have our respective advantages, but at the end of the day, how do we unite, come together in partnership to solve the problem of the customer? So partnerships are important, because guess what? You have one customer and the three of you will need to deliver the experience which the customer needs. So partnerships go without saying. We have to partner, we have to come together, because at the end of the day, we have the eye on one customer. So that's very important to us, and we'll continue to partner, and partnerships is really the way to go.
Absolutely. And on a final note, one of the key takeaways for us is how the bank wants to position itself globally as a well-respected bank. In your mind, what does that look like for Access Bank Zambia?
Well, very critical, question that you actually asked me. When you look at the African continent and ask yourself what type of narrative is out there on the African continent, all people talk about is hunger, different types of negativities. There's war here. But what we need to actually do is look, how do we impact Africa's GDP? How do we tell a positive story on what's going on in Africa? Bring that to Zambia. How do we make sure that we're able to say that this merger is going to contribute X amount in terms of Zambia's GDP, X amount in terms of Zambia's employment, through all the partnerships that we put together? So what we can expect going forward is greater partnerships, more of a customer-focused approach to everything that we do, because guess what? All of us stand on the shoulders of our customers. Whether you like it or not, that's how the world is, and that's how it is. And I think we can only make a commitment to make sure that we continue with that approach, and ensure that everything that we do, everything that we change is earmarked at solving our customers' problems. So I think we can always expect more. As Access Bank, we always say you have access to more.
Wow. Absolutely. No, thank you so much, Mr. Nshala. And this has been Mr. Nshala, the Chief Executive of Access Bank Zambia. So stay tuned for more insights from this evening's event and get to know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Hello, everyone. We're still here at Pomozi, and we're now talking to some of the key stakeholders. And with me is none other than Komba, who is from MTN FinTech. Komba, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Malua. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's 2024 now, and this is our second interview, which is fantastic. But then, curious enough, we find you at an Access event. And we're thinking MTN Access. What's going on here?
First of all, I'm very happy to be back on a Financial Insight platform. Always love to interact with you, founder.
Thank you so much. Oh, I'm now the CEO now, apparently. My board says, no, you can no longer be founder.
Is that a demotion or a promotion?
I don't know, but let's find out.
No, look, just picking it up from your question, MTN and Access Bank have a historic, formidable relationship. Right. And narrowing it down to MTN Mobile Money, we are banked by Access Bank. But the relationship goes a little bit deeper, because the whole mobile money ecosystem is built on a foundation of banking platforms. And so they facilitate for our customers bank to wallet, wallet to bank. They facilitate liquidity into the agent ecosystem. So the symbiosis between us and Access is very strong. But what even makes this even more strategic for us is the fact that the first bank that ever banked FTN mobile money was actually Atlas Mara.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
So
That's wonderful.
for us, we've got a lot of loyalties to Atlas Mara and Access Bank. So just bringing all of it together for us means an increased branch network, a stronger service provision for our customers, a lot more support for our agents, for our merchants out here. So when I got an invitation for this party,
You couldn't say
there was
no.
no way I was going to say no.
Absolutely. And obviously, what's very interesting for us at Financial Insight is that you're now merging two banks. They're now literally one of the top 5, top 6
100%.
big banks.
Yeah.
But then, how do you see this relationship even growing further? Because then we're hearing about Pan-African aspirations of Access Bank.
Yes.
Does that mean that we're going to see a lot more collaboration? From
Look, I was
banking?
listening to the executive director, Shei, mentioned quite a lot of notable milestones and ambitions. They are targeting being the biggest bank in Africa. We're waiting for them to join the podium. We are the biggest Pan-African corporation in
Congratulations
Africa.
on that,
Yes,
yes.
indeed. MTN is a very formidable organization. But we cannot exist without partnerships like Access.
Absolutely.
They are strong in many of the markets that we operate. So this is not just a Zambia conversation. The dialogue between us spans across many countries in Africa. So the whole Pan-African narrative. And one other thing that I love about Access Bank, and you can see it around the room, it's in Africa, for Africa, by Africans.
By Africans, yes.
The narrative is very strong. So a lot of hope for people like you and me, a lot of hope for our SMEs, a lot of hope for entrepreneurs and youth alike out there. So I think that history is being made. What I like about what is happening in Zambia specifically is that there's not best practice for something like this.
Correct.
We're witnessing something completely new. So to the extent that it's going to be a success, the measure is from here where we are and going forward. And for me, from where I sit, for my team, for MTN at large, we're just here to support.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe on a final thought, what is your quick take on what you're hoping for in terms of aspirations aside from mergers for MTN FinTech in 2024?
Look, more partnerships, right?
And this is a great way to start.
Exactly.
Yes, yes, yeah.
More
With the bigger
interactions with organizations like yourselves. We need bigger platforms to be able to tell our story. For us, the narrative it remains very simple. We will only rest when each and every Zambian has got access to fair, free financial services, right? We need everybody financially included. So opportunities to be able to interact with the likes of you, and I know you're taking your narrative all over the world and in and around the country, very critical that we embrace and embody as many partnerships and friends as possible, because that customer education, the product sale to the last customer, very, very critical for us. So looking forward to working with you more, my brother, this year.
Absolutely.
And just keeping it center and forward. Really happy for the interaction.
Absolutely. And Komba, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And by the way, just to leak to all our viewers, we have a new studio that's coming up. Yes, it's beautiful. It's coming up for season 3, and you'll be one of our first guests on the new show.
Dibs on the first.
Absolutely. Dibs on the first. Komba, always a pleasure to
Thanks,
talk to you.
Always a pleasure.
Hi everyone, we're still at the event that is being hosted by Access Bank, and we've bumped into an old friend of ours, Mr. Mike Tani, who's going to tell us a little bit about himself. Mr. Mike Tani, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right, great. And just tell us a little bit about yourself and which industry you come from.
Okay, so we're investing in the power sector. We formed a company called Zambia Energy Corporation back in 2005, almost coming to the end of our second decade. We were the main shareholder in CEC for a long time. Now we're the third biggest shareholder, but we invest in other things as well. So property investments, other energy things, some financial services. So we're diversifying, you could say.
Absolutely. And obviously it's curious, meeting you at an event such as this particular one.
Yeah.
How have you found the event so far? And are there any key takeaways that you have from, the big announcement that there's this big merger and some of their plans and aspirations?
So what's most noticeable about Access Bank, we come from the Access Bank side, I should say. So already are bankers for Zambia Energy Corporation. And what I notice about them is that their aggression in terms of growth, wanting to become the biggest bank in Zambia, apparently, biggest
Yes.
bank in Africa.
Yes.
I didn't know it was that ambitious, but
Yes, yeah.
good luck to them. So, speed of response, wanting to be creative, wanting to push ahead. So we also feel aggressive when we want products. We don't want to be waiting around for a long time to respond.
true.
So I've seen them respond. They can respond very quickly. Yeah, they need to work on some processes sometimes, but
Exactly, yes, yeah.
but in terms of their aggression, it's there. So we admire what they're doing. We're happy to stay with them and walk together with.
Absolutely, and
forward.
when you mention aggression, I mean, obviously coming from the power sector, that's obviously something that's needed. So, do you think like mergers and banks' ambitions such as these are something that is healthy for the energy sector from a financing perspective?
Well, the energy sector is highly capital intensive, so to be meaningful, you have to invest tens of millions of dollars, sometimes hundreds. So a small bank can't really do very much.
Correct.
So in that sense, yes, it's one of the most capital intensive industries around. So scale is important. Also the ability to come up with creative products, hedging instruments, those sorts of things. So yeah, it's the right thing to do if you want to be a big player.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Mark, thanks so much for joining us on this special episode, and we look forward to engaging with you during the year.
Indeed. Thank you so much. Look forward to that.
Pleasure.
Okay.